Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to an overview for the Week 6, the final week for the Major 2 online qualifiers for Black Ops 7. Today we're going to go over the matches, go over the standings for just a minute, look at the pick'ems, make our predictions, and then look at the fantasy for the weekend. We will do recaps of each day, the following day, just in case if you guys miss the matches, what you need to know. Starting off today, Friday, March 20th at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. I don't know what time zone you're on. I'm on Central. To start off the day, we have a big one. Paris Gentlemates going up against FaZe Vegas. Paris Gentlemates and FaZe Vegas. Let's look. So Paris right now is in 8th place. Paris really needs to get some points this weekend. Not that I think Cloud9 is going to overtake them, but some of these teams have won their head-to-heads against the Paris Gentlemates. So they need to pull away a little bit further in the score. And then FaZe Vegas tied with them right now. Actually, a little bit above. But head-to-head, that's what it could come down to. So really, FaZe Vegas and Paris Gentleman need to get some points this weekend. And the teams they really need to pull away from, I know that Boston and Vancouver are tied right now. Boston has won their head-to-head against Vancouver, though. So right now, Vancouver would be the one not making it unless Vancouver can secure more points this weekend than Boston. So if they have the same number of points, it will come down to that head-to-head, and Boston will win. But Vancouver may be able to pull away on points. So the bottom two, 11 and 12, will not make it. 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th, and 6th. 10, 9, 8, and 7 will have to do a single elimination play-in for the Major 2 in Birmingham. So you really don't want to be in these bottom four places. You'd like to be up in the top 6. So we'll see. Everyone's really close. I mean, 40 to 50 points, that's one match. There's only one match. So we'll see how that goes. Back to the matches for today, though. Paris Gentleman taking on the FaZe Vegas. I'll make my prediction on that and talk about it a little bit more here in just a minute. Then we have Cloud9 New York against the Carolina Royal Ravens. Once again, Cloud9 is not going to make it to the Major. However, they could play spoiler for the Carolina Royal Ravens and make it just a little bit harder. Regardless, Carolina plays Cloud9 and the Miami Heretics this weekend. They're not going to make it. They're going to have to play in regardless, in my opinion. We'll talk about it here in a minute, though. Then we have the Vancouver Surge going up against G2 Minnesota. Vancouver, even though they brought in TJ, even though they brought in Capsule, Lunars is still looking pretty solid most of the time. I mean, Gwen has great stats. I just don't think he has the impact on the AR like he did on the SMG, especially as a main 8. I guess he's kind of a flex with Lunars being a main, but you get the idea. They're both kind of a main, kind of a flex. It's hard to read. But we'll talk about the outcome there, but that will round out Friday. Going into Saturday, we start off with the Miami Heretics. I'm a big Miami Heretics fan, and they are rolling right now. Going up against the Carolina Royal Ravens. We'll see what server they're on. We won't see it here, but we'll see come Saturday morning which server they're on and see how the Miami Heretics can favor there. And then we have FaZe Vegas going up against Cloud9. For FaZe Vegas, this should be an easy 10 points to secure their spot going to Birmingham. But who knows? I mean, Cloud9 has had some crazy upsets. Following that, we have the Riyadh Falcons going up against Optic Texas. Wow, that was hard to say. And then rounding out Saturday, we have the LA Thieves going up against G2 Minnesota. And this might be the match I'm most excited to watch realistically this weekend, just truly. And then Sunday, to round out the online qualifiers, we have the Vancouver Surge going up against Riyadh Falcons, which, with Riyadh playing Optic, this may be a time for Vancouver to pounce and get 10 points whenever they're scrambling still and reeling from an 0-3 loss. We'll talk about that. Following that, we have the Paris Gentlemates against the LA Thieves. Dan Ghosty and Dylan Envoy going up against Scrap and Hydra again. We'll talk about it. Then we have the Miami Heretics going up against Boston Breach. Is that Boston's only match this weekend? Ooh, I don't think Boston's going to make it. I don't think Boston will be able to make it. It'll really come down to this Vancouver G2 match and the Vancouver Riyadh Falcons match, whether or not Boston Breach make it. to Birmingham. So we'll see. That'll be an exciting time to watch Boston and to watch the Vancouver matches actually. So even though there might not be matches I really want to watch, there'll be something I'm tuning into just to see who's going to make it to Birmingham. And then to round out, we have the Toronto Koi with ex-Huntsman Kips going up against Optic Texas to round out the online qualifiers. Once again, we're going to take a look at the standings real quick. Optic Texas with a demanding lead of 90 points. Miami Heretics at 60. Riyadh, LA, G2, Toronto all sitting at 50 points. FaZe, Paris, and Carolina sitting at 40. Vancouver and Boston sitting at 30. And Cloud9 sitting at 20 points respectively. Once again, the bottom two teams will not make it. So right now, Boston and Vancouver. Boston has the head-to-head win, but Vancouver does have a couple more matches, and Boston's match does not look very favorable for them, just truly. So if Vancouver can secure a victory and Boston does not, it's easy. Vancouver's going to make it. But if Boston's able to win or keep the score the same, at least to my knowledge, I believe Boston will get the ticket to Birmingham. And then 10 through 7, really, you don't want to be here. These are single elimination matches. I believe they play each other. Once again, I'm not 100% certain. Do your research on your own. But they'll do single elimination for them, and you lose that first match, you're going home. Now for FaZe and Paris, I believe it would be FaZe is playing Vancouver, Paris would play the 9, or however the seedings go. I don't think they should really have any problems, especially with Carolina's online history or LAN history, but we never know. Maybe Carolina will roll over a new leaf, and then the top 6 will be regular double elimination bracket play. So that is the standings and the matches for the weekend. Let's go over to the pick'ems real quick. FaZe Vegas versus the Paris Gentlemates. Once again, I'm a big Neptune fan. I know that Gotaga or whoever it is, that might be the KOI guy. I'm not sure. I'm not certain. I'm not really big up on the org. But the Paris Gentlemate guy was like, hey, some of our players have been going through some personal stuff. That's why they're playing bad. We couldn't expect anyone to play good. I get it. I hope everything's all right for the players. But right now, I'm trying to get my CDL pick'ems points in, and I just can't overlook that. Let's see. FaZe's respawn still not looking great. Paris looks awful, though, in the overload. So I'm going to say Paris will pick up 1 hard point. If Sib shows up, they'll pick up the search. I talked myself into giving Paris a win. I'm not even going to. I'm going to lock in FaZe Vegas with the victory. I like Simp. I like Abuza. I like Draza. 04 is not my first choice of SMG for that team. I think FaZe pull it out, though. The Royal Ravens going up against Cloud9. And this is really the battle of 2 search and destroy teams, in my opinion. I think Carolina will get the better of them. In the respawns, I like how Cloud9 plays search and destroy, but then I think Carolina picks up another hard point. Or, yes, another hard point, It'd be hard point overload, search, hard point. No, that's not right. It's hard point, search, overload, hard point. Yes, sorry, it took me a second. Sometimes I have to think through it. G2 Minnesota versus the Vancouver Surge at the fast 3-0 for my boys. For my boy Skies. Next up, Saturday, once again, Carolina Royal Ravens versus Miami Heretics. Miami looks great. Fat 3-0. Cloud9 versus FaZe. FaZe's search doesn't look great. I'm going to give the search to Cloud9. Following that, Optic versus Riyadh. I think this will actually be a good match. I'm going to have this going to around a map 5. Probably like around 10, if I had to guess. I'm going to give it to Optic, though. Then we have the G2 Minnesota up against LA Thieves. G2 really likes this matchup. They play really good against this matchup. I don't know if they've played against Neum, though. Crimp's had a couple tough ones. He's blaming Ping Cheese. I get it. I would blame Ping Cheese, too, if I was playing awful like that. I'm going to have to give it that LA's has finally put it together. We'll give G2 that search, though. That first search. Sunday, Riyadh versus Vancouver. Riyadh's going to come off a tough loss. They will either bounce back and play great, or they'll shrivel up and die knowing that they're just going to make the major regardless. But with Pred Nexnit and Kismet this year, and then Selim wants to get his. Um, I don't think they're one of those teams that are just going to be content. I think they're going to come out if they lose to Optic, and they're going to beat the brakes off of Vancouver. And I'm going to say Selim carries them. Selim and Nexnit carries in that search and destroy for the victory. Let's see. LA Thieves versus the Paris Gentlemates. Dan Ghosty and Dylan Envoy just love playing against Scrap and Hydra. At least they did. Let's see, since they've had this really big slump. But they fried him last time. Dan Ghosty's really slowed down since the beginning of the game. And I think a lot of that is other people have picked up on it. They know how to play against it, so Dan has to play a little bit smarter. But I'm still going to give it to Paris 3-1. 3-1. I'll give LA the benefit of the doubt on the overload, because Paris's overload looks horrendous. Boston Breach versus Miami Heretics. I'm going to go with my boys, the Miami Heretics. Vamos. And then to round out the weekend, we have Optic Texas up against Toronto Koi. Toronto had that tough loss against Cloud9. I know that Toronto's a team of den merchants, which, hey, I respect it. I mean, their map pool has gotten slightly better, but against the number one team in the game, I don't think it's going to do a whole lot. Unless Optic just plays them on the den. I mean, that's realistic. That Optic just wants to work the den against the best, not even the best den team, probably the second best den team after them. So that's going to be our pick'ems. Now, if Optic plays Koi on the den, I think it'll probably be more like a 3-1, 3-2 maybe for Optic Texas. We're going to lock those in. I know my score is really low. Check it out, though. It's because it didn't let me make those predictions when I made the video, and I just didn't put them in. But then I put them in for Sunday, and I got them all right. I had a couple of the scores wrong, but I had all the winners right. So I do know ball. I just did not put in my scores. So we lock those bad boys in. We will check on those on Sunday night. Then going over to the fantasy. Once again, a big 8-3 for your boy. Last week, we slammed Corbonic 18-9. And this week, upcoming matches, I am going up against Christopher. Ooh, Chris has Rancor. That's tough. Abizi, Pred, Mercules, Rancor against Neptune, Trax, Kismet, and Super. I did drop Kips. I didn't drop him. He's just on the bench. And I put Kismet in because he's playing Vancouver and he's playing Optic. So he'll just have more reps than Kips, is really what it is. And then Trax and Super, they've been going nuts. Please continue to go nuts for me, boys. I appreciate it. Other than that, we got Jadden versus Fool. Take a quick look at that. Pause it if you need to. We got Corbin versus Codfather. I don't know. This team. Envoy. I don't know. Envoy's letting this team down. And then we got Nick versus Sticks. Take a pause if you need to. Snoopy's playing better too, so I think Snoopy may not let this team down as much anymore. 04 looks a little bit better too. So I think it'll be a battle of Snoopy and 04 there. But once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to tune into the matches on the CDL Esports on Twitch to get your viewer rewards. We will post tomorrow going over the matches from today and so forth and so on. I am not sure what the schedule will be for the Birmingham Major because the times are really weird. We'll talk about it on Sunday, though, and discuss when and where I will be posting those. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, ring that notification bell, stay up to date whenever I go live or post another video. God bless. Share this with your mom. Share this with your boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever's watching. Stay frosty and have a good weekend.